I'm sure many of you are aware of the unfolding situation happening in Israel right now. Over the last weekend, Israel has become the victim of a surprise terrorist attack at the hands of Hamas. And there are people throughout the world who are congratulating Hamas for their success and stating that they are simply acting in self-defense, but it has been made very obvious that this was an attempt to cause as much death and destruction and horror as possible. And there are hundreds of Israeli citizens dead. There are American citizens who have been killed in this attack. There are women and children who have been kidnapped, killed, and assaulted. There are reports that babies have been killed and beheaded in places where Hamas attacked. Just unspeakable horror that is going on right now in Israel. And this has really become a multifaceted tragedy. The first part of it being the actual suffering that has taken place in Israel, the things that the Israeli people are going through right now, the mourning of the loss of their loved ones. The second part of this is how much support Hamas, the terrorist organization, has been able to conjure up, not only in the United States, but throughout the rest of the world as well. And we will get to some of those examples in just a minute. In observing the situation, I think back to when Russia invaded Ukraine, and one of the political discussions that has been taking place since then is how much the United States should be involved and how much should we invest as a country in the Ukrainian war. And there are some that believe that the United States shouldn't be involved at all, and there are others that think that we should continue to pour resources into the war. But one thing is for certain, is that there's nobody celebrating the death of Ukrainian citizens and the assault of Ukrainian citizens. But it is quite astonishing the amount of people that have come out to congratulate Hamas and celebrate their supposed success. And it is truly astonishing to see the amount of evil that is in the world, the amount of support that Hamas has received. Israel has been an ally of the United States for decades. The United States fought in World War II to free the Jews from the Holocaust and also prevent a further Holocaust from happening. And since then, since the 1940s, Israel and the United States have remained allies. And in this moment, we should let them know that we are still their allies and throw support their way, if at all possible. But despite the fact that they are mercilessly being pursued and gunned down and cut down, there are still people in this country and throughout the world that believe they deserve it. They believe that they had it coming this whole time. And there are people who are actively cheering and praising and congratulating Hamas on what they have been able to accomplish over the last few days. Here are a couple of examples of what I am talking about, starting off with a scene that was posted by the New York Times of a pro-Hamas protest taking place in Sydney, Australia. Again, this is taking place in Sydney, Australia, just outside of the famous Opera House. Hundreds of pro-Hamas protesters have gathered together to celebrate what Hamas is doing to Jews in Israel. They are burning the flag of Israel. They are chanting horrendous things regarding Hamas's attack. If you are not watching the video and just simply listening and can't quite make out what is being said, they are chanting F the Jews, they are chanting Allahu Akbar, they are chanting Gas the Jews over and over again in support of Hamas. Here's another scene from Chicago where there's a pro-Palestine march taking place.
Right, as you said, this is a pro-Palestinian rally which is marching through the heart of downtown Chicago right now. We are at Madison and Clark. For those who know Chicago, that means they are shutting a huge thoroughfare in this city down. And to kind of speak to the message here more, you can hear the chanting in the background. We've got blocks of people here. This started at the Israeli consulate. So this is a pro-Palestine rally that began outside the Israeli General Consulate here.
Beyond the pro-Hamas marches that we are seeing in Chicago, you also have BLM of Chicago posting on social media stating that they stand with Palestine. You also have Black Lives Matter grassroots stating, quote, that we stand in solidarity with our Palestinian family who are currently resisting 57 years of settler colonialism and apartheid as Black people continue the fight to end militarism and mass incarceration in our own communities. Let us understand the resistance in Palestine as an attempt to tear down the gates of the world's largest open-air prison. As a radical Black organization grounded in abolitionist ideals, we see clear parallels between Black and Palestinian people. Now, if that does not tell you everything you need to know about the Black Lives Matter movement, I don't know what will. This is happening in America, folks. This is America, surprisingly, is divided on how we should view these horrendous attacks on Israel. Again, going back to what I was saying earlier, this could be a moment where we acknowledge that Israel is our ally and that as our ally, they have been subjected to a horrible attack that has left hundreds of people dead. This could be a moment of unification, not only reunification between the United States and Israel, but also amongst Americans in general, but it will not, because that is how divided America is. These kind of demonstrations where they are praising what Hamas is doing, they are popping up in New York, they are popping up in Chicago, they are popping up in Florida, in various different places throughout the United States. On college campuses, you have people that will not denounce the atrocities that have been committed by Hamas, and we are somehow supposed to believe that America is on the right track when we cannot even denounce the horrible actions of terrorist groups and what they are doing to our allies in the Middle East.